very strong, sound performance from your group. What did you think?
Yeah, I think so. For the most part, tactically, I think we were very good. We wanted to control tempo, and move the ball around in certain areas of the field. One, that would help us create opportunities, but two, to neutralize Pacific on any counter-attacking situations. That's very important for us. What we do on the ball is not just about how we attack, but it's about how we defend. And I thought, for the most part, we controlled those situations. Sometimes we went away from that, and when you do that on this field, everything can turn around quite quick. Good attacking sequences. We've created some good opportunities, and it's always nice early in the year when you start scoring on set pieces, because we know those are moments in the game that just from anything changes things, changes the dynamic, and it was excellent to see.
I guess to that point, Alex mentioned that first one executed perfectly on the set pieces. Just how important is that, especially here where sometimes in open play it can be a bit harder to find those chances?
Yeah, that's what I mean. You could be dominant in a game and can't get the ball in the net, and you unlock it with a set piece. Or on the flip side, you could be chasing the ball a little bit, and now you get that one moment, and you got to start taking advantage of it. And it's something we've talked about in this preseason a little bit more, and that we have to be sharper on. As a team, we scored a lot of goals last year and did very well. Not many of them came from set plays. So every year we try and challenge ourselves with different things. That's one thing we've done, and we've worked on it. So it's great when you get them in a positive manner so early in the season. It makes sure that your players stay sharp when you're doing it in training.
We saw you change your build-up slightly. Kadeem Kane drops in as right back, ends up playing a bit more of a center back. First, is that maybe a bit of a role we might see more from him, given his quality on the ball? And what do you make from him, just that little shift?
Yeah, I was asked in the pre-match conference, Ram has been out, and it was good to see him back in the lineup today and get some minutes. Last week we saw young Zane Bruno play a similar role, and I was asked, who fills that space, and we've got players. Kadeem is a guy that's been here now this is his third year. If you look sometimes in our cycles of the young players when we expect them to rise and do the right things, this is it. He's a guy that we've challenged to play a few different positions. Traditionally played as a 6, but I think we're going to see him in different parts of the field this year, just to try and mature his game. And I thought it was a very good game all around from him. Defensively he was very good. In the build-up, he was in the right spaces, giving us the right solutions. And yeah, on this smaller pitch, you have to tweak things sometimes. We weren't sure exactly where Pacific was going to put their pressing level. So the guys knew exactly how to move if they decided to press a little bit higher. So we can try and increase the space between the lines, which is needed when the space sometimes doesn't exist.
Okay, Bobby, just generally in an overall, so how do you guys, year after year, manage to stay better near the top of the league?
Yeah, it's early. Yeah, that's the one thing I'll always stress. One of the things is we don't get too excited and we don't get too down as a team. First and foremost, that's something I've instilled in this group since year one. You win a few games, you haven't achieved much, and if you've lost a few, it's not the end of the world in this league. You play every team 4 times. Things spin very quickly. So you have to stay humble. That's the most important thing. And yes, this club has won a lot and played a lot of big games, but I think if you ask each player, it starts from being humble first and foremost, getting out to the training pitch and working hard, because we know winning is not easy, and each team in this league wants to win trophies, and for us to keep on doing that, we have to challenge ourselves each and every day.
Yeah, I was really curious about what you thought the defense held up today. Specific, a little bit of a different setup. Josh Hurd isn't your normal number 9 target man. Did that surprise you in any way, and how did you shift your defense accordingly?
Yeah, I think although he's not your prototypical guy, I think he does a very good job for them, because he's a guy that will always exert maximal force in everything, both in the attack and chasing things down, and defensively with trying to press on the ball. So, the one thing, and I thought we weren't sharp in moments in the first half, was our counter press, and that allowed them to find a little bit some direct balls over to Hurd. Once or twice, was a half chance to get through, and sometimes that's all an opponent needs. it's, you know, something we talked about within the half of just being a little bit more aggressive, and we were. You obviously take away the opportunity for a calculated pass from opponent. So I think a lot of it had to do with how aggressive we wanted to be in the opponent's half. And then, of course, we had direct instructions with our base of three in Kadim and Dan Nimick and Alex Janssen, just to make sure they're quite aware with any open ball that's going to get into space, and a guy like Hurd is not going to give up on any ball. So I think they were very sharp in that area, not only winning the ball in the air, but not allowing things to get in behind us in a dangerous way.
It's a little bit of a new backline that you have this year because new signings, changes to the squad overall. Are you surprised how well it held together today?
Yeah, no. We've been together since January 4th. That helps. So, of course, we've played, before the league started, we played 2 very big matches where you had to be sharp against a top opponent. You know, I think if a player comes in to our club with a good attitude, an attitude of wanting to learn, I think the way we train as a coaching staff, the way we bring things into each and every day, it's an enjoyable environment. When it's an enjoyable environment, guys can pick up very quick. And there's simple principles that we talk about, and we've got some players with some excellent mentality. You know, bringing in Dan Nimick, you know, he's a character guy. That's one thing we knew about him in Halifax, and you know, we've over the years been very picky on signing players from within the league. There haven't been many. So, you know, he's a guy that brings a lot of character. Marko Jevremovic, who's playing at left back, brings a ton of character, mentality, and all of that. Janssen's a guy who's been around here, and he's the glue. He's the guy that knows what's going on. So it's easy when you have players like that, players that are driven, and players who want to work each and every day in training.
If I could just ask for one question each from you on Zoom, starting with you, Frequency, go ahead.
Coach Bobby, congratulations on the win. 6 points. What a nice way to start the season. How do you see so far, especially with the new guys, with Marco and Kane this time, and all the new guys? Last game, Bruno. How do you keep them sharp and at the same time giving them a reason to play?
Yeah, one, it's they don't play because I like them. They play because they deserve it. They deserve it from what they do in training in the week and what they've shown throughout preseason. I think getting as many players engaged early on is important. You know, it pays dividends in the long run. There's a lot of points on the board, a lot of games to be played. So, you know, we've been able to see different players in Zane Bruno and in Kadim. Jose Masunda got his first minutes today in Cairo, and I know they're brief minutes. But these guys are going to play important roles in the team. And then, you know, today we, you know, brought Borges back into the lineup. He didn't get on the pitch last week, and he's going to be one of our most important players. I think early on it's making sure that so long as guys are doing their business in training throughout the week, we engage them through gameplay, and that creates good competition in the squad. When you have that, then the only person who has a problem is me, because I have to choose the 11.
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last one to you, Thomas. Go ahead.
Thanks. Hi, Bobby. Congratulations on the win. I thought one of the really impressive moments from you guys in the game today was kind of the variety of ways you were able to attack. I know kind of you had Becker playing the ball out of midfield, and you found Borges late. You had these kind of quick switch balls. I know there's one from Bafuli to Ampoma early on, but at the same time there are these more kind of slower build-ups that kind of took a lot of the energy away from Pacific and kind of brought the momentum with you guys. So I'm just wondering kind of where that kind of variety comes from and how you guys are able to hold off so well.
Yeah, I think the big thing was we always try and look at 2-3 nuances in our opponent that allows us to move things around in our principles. Today, the guys had, you know, very clear message on depending on where Pacific's line was. If they were playing, you know, in a high medium block or a low medium block, you know, where we needed to go, where the ball needed to move to, whether that was a switch of play or whether that was a little bit more playing in depth with guys like Borges running through the lines. And I think for the most part, we did that well. There was moments where we went away from that, and I think then you created some transition moments. It wasn't as clean as possible. So, you know, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of concentration from the players. But I think overall, they read those situations very well. And when you give that clear identity to the players, the team, and it works in the first few moments of the game, I think they do a good job of keeping to it as it goes on. But I'm sure we're going to look back at the film and think we could be better. That's for sure.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
All right. Thank you, everyone.